Today, we are going to get into something so important, especially if you have an ADHD brain. We're talking about the connection between our boundaries, or lack thereof, and that feeling of being just completely drained all the time. So let me ask you this. Do you ever get to the end of the day, or even the middle of the day, and you just feel absolutely wiped out? But when you try to figure out why, you can't really point to one big thing that happened. It's this constant low-level exhaustion. Well, it turns out there's very often a hidden reason for it. And that reason, that core concept behind the drain, is something we can call energy leaks. Think of them as these tiny, quiet little drips that, over time, completely empty your tank. So what are they, really? Well, an energy leak isn't some huge, dramatic event. Nope. It's all the small, quiet, and repeated ways that our focus, our emotional capacity, and even our core nervous system reserves just kind of seep away. And the trickiest part? A lot of the time, we don't even realize it's happening. They can look super innocent, too. Like answering a work email at 10 p.m. or replying to a text when you're already in bed trying to wind down. Or how about this one? That split-second impulse to say yes, of course, to a favor or new project before you've even had a chance to check in with yourself and see if you actually have the bandwidth for it. Oh, and this is a big one, taking on other people's emotions. When a friend is stressed, so suddenly you're stressed, and you feel like it's your job to carry that weight for them. It can even be about our own bodies, like ignoring that you're hungry, or that you desperately need a 5-minute break just to finish one more thing. See, each one of these on its own feels like no big deal, but they add up, drip by drip, until you're running on empty. Now, if any of that is resonating with you, I really want you to hear this next part loud and clear. Having a hard time with boundaries is not a personal failure. It is not some flaw in your character. Let's talk specifically about the ADHD brain and boundaries, because there's a reason this can feel so incredibly hard. And the most important thing to get is this: it is not your fault. There are real neurological reasons for this struggle. Things like time blindness make it almost impossible to feel that you're overextended until you've already hit a wall. Rejection sensitivity can make saying no feel terrifying, like you're genuinely risking your relationship or your safety. Then you've got emotional impulsivity, where you agree to something in the heat of the moment only to be filled with regret an hour later. These aren't choices. They're patterns rooted in your nervous system. So where do these patterns even come from? Well, we have to dig a little deeper and explore the emotional roots of these energy leaks, because so often they're tied to these deeply learned beliefs that really fuel that people-pleasing instinct. A lot of us learned, maybe as kids, that being the helpful one or the easygoing one was the best way to get praise or avoid criticism. And over time, that creates these stories we tell ourselves. Stories like, if I say no, I'm a bad friend, or if I take a break, I'm being lazy and everyone else will get ahead, or the big one, if I stop giving all the time, people won't want me around anymore. And I want to be clear, these are stories, not truths. Okay, so this brings us to a really game-changing question. I want you to forget everything you might think you know about boundaries, that they're these big, harsh, confrontational walls you have to build. So let's ask, what is a boundary, really? It is time for a major reframe. We're going to start thinking about boundaries not as confrontation, but as a form of nervous system care. It's a gentle shift in perspective, from pushing people away to simply protecting your own inner world. So let's try on a new definition. A boundary is simply the answer to this question: what helps my nervous system stay regulated and feel safe? That's it. It's not about controlling somebody else's behavior. It's about creating a little bit of internal safety for yourself. And what this means is that a boundary isn't some huge dramatic showdown. It's just a small, specific decision you make for one reason and one reason only: to reduce an energy drain, to plug one of those little leaks. Okay, that all sounds great, but how do we actually do it, right? Let's walk through a super simple, totally non-overwhelming, and very ADHD-friendly 3-step process to start setting these gentle boundaries. Okay, here we go. Step 1, just notice the drain. In the moment, ask yourself, whoa, where did my energy just go? Step 2, choose the smallest possible containment. Don't try to solve the whole world's problems. Just ask, what is one tiny limit that would help right now? And step 3, and this is crucial, hold the boundary and do it without a 5-page essay explaining why. No over-explaining, no justifying. So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, for your time, it could be a simple personal rule like I don't respond to non urgent messages after 9 p.m. Or maybe it's giving yourself a rule to wait 24 hours before saying yes to new plans, just to give yourself some breathing room. And with communication, it can be as simple as having a go to phrase like, let me think on that and get back to you tomorrow. Or it could be an internal boundary, like deciding to just listen to a friend vent without feeling like you have to jump in and fix their whole life. Notice how none of these are big, dramatic declarations? That's the whole point. All right, but here is the part that nobody ever wants to talk about. When you first start doing this, it is probably going to feel really uncomfortable. You might feel a wave of guilt or a spike of anxiety. But I want to tell you something. That discomfort, it means it's working. So let's break down what's happening. Your brain's old programming might be screaming, "This is so selfish." But what's actually happening is that your nervous system is finally learning that it's allowed to protect itself. Your brain might say, "Oh no, I'm disappointing them," when in reality, you are just recalibrating what you actually have the capacity for. So if there is one thing, just one thing you take away about that uncomfortable feeling, please let it be this. Discomfort does not mean danger. It means you are recalibrating. It is the feeling of your whole system learning a new and much healthier way to operate. And let's end with this one final thought because it's so, so important. Boundaries don't push people away. They do the exact opposite. They protect the very energy you need to be present, to be compassionate, and to be truly connected with the people you care about. It's not selfish. It is absolutely essential.